Maybe one of us saw too much.
They're not our friends, that's for sure. Hi everybody, Jackie Havey here with another episode of Makeup and Madness, a show where I talk about weird topics that make people uncomfortable while I'm doing my makeup. If you're new here, hi. If you are a returning fan, I love you. Thank you so much for coming back. I hope you enjoyed this next episode. Last week we talked about Richard Chase, the vampire of Sacramento, and the major reason why you should lock your doors all the time and windows. This week we're going to talk about the origin of Earth humans, origin of life on this planet, and our overall scheme in the known universe and galaxies and beyond. Strap in, folks, for some high concept sci-fi. Pew pew! My father worked for NASA as an electrical engineer, and he also was a part of the French Navy for the early part of his career. The plaque that NASA gave him, it's a Columbia that he worked on. He encouraged me to think about life on other planets, creatures besides humans, natural creatures here, and also creatures from out there. And we would have long talks. He basically encouraged me to be a big weirdo that makes people uncomfortable whenever I talk about something that really interests me, which aliens really interest me. So through my own observations and my education, I've kind of put together a theory of what I think is going on. This is just my opinion. It's based in things that I have read or come across personally or from podcasts, different things. I put together the story, the origin story, the tale of the origin of life on Earth, or Earth, the last outpost. Billions of years ago, Earth was a rock with nothing on it. It was just a rock. Had no air, no water, no atmosphere, no nothing. A visitor comes and starts seeding this big rock, spraying these little molecules all over the place. We have since discovered these molecules to be God molecules, and we discovered them through the Hadron Collider. A God molecule is a molecule that will grow. It'll grow into anything. It's like the basic building block of life and a little seed. I'm probably butchering that. I don't really I'm not a scientist to that level at all. But this is what these visitors were spraying on the surface of this planet. And these God molecules turn into little creatures. It's like they start the evolutionary process. It's kind of like they introduced them and then they just kind of became what they were supposed to be. But this took billions of years, and eventually single-celled organisms grew out of these God molecules, and these single-celled organisms over billions of years created the atmosphere of the planet we now live on. Through their excretions and exhalations, they created oxygen, and they created hydrogen, and they created all the things that bound together to create air and rain and water. And the planet filled up with these substances. It took billions of years. So why exactly did some visitor come here and seed this planet to create an atmosphere, to create a place where life could exist? Why in the world would someone do that? Well, as it turns out, the location of Earth is it's actually quite far away from the other galaxies. And it's not too far away that they can't reach us. It's just that our planet is the backwoods, the last outpost, literally. And they wanted to have They wanted to have a place where they could a jumping off point. So once they get to Earth, then they can bounce to other places farther out in the galaxy. It's like we're a go-between. We're between two large spaces where life is. During that time, the already advanced civilizations that seeded our planet were thriving. They were thriving. They were creating treaties. They were having wars. And all of the forces of good and evil catalyze. When primates began to evolve to a certain point, we were visited again. We were created by genetic DNA alteration during the end of the Ice Age. Another faction of humanoid was placed on this planet towards the end of the Ice Age with us. We call them the Neanderthals. They were the people of the North. They interbred with the regular humans that were here and were absorbed genetically. When the world warmed from the Ice Age, that's when the human civilization started to really start thriving. And during that time, in our early prehistory, we were visited many times by visitors. All of the extraterrestrial groups that we know about, they're mentioned in a lot of lore, a lot of legend, and a lot of old writings. The first type I want to mention is the reptilians. They are from the planet Draco Galaxy, which houses the reptilians, which are 9-foot-tall lizard humanoids. And there's two different kinds. There's the kind that are here, that evolved here along with us. And then there's the ones that are more advanced and they're out in the Draco Galaxy. Those are considered to be hostile entities. They also may have done the same thing that the other visitors did with the DNA of the creatures here. They may have altered the DNA to create the 9-foot lizard reptilian earthlings that are native here. The Earth reptilians live in caves and tunnels all around the Earth. They've decided to take to dwelling underground. So both types of reptilians gain strength and, I guess, emotional nourishment from the suffering of people and the bad attitudes of people. So it's kind of like that sludge stuff in Ghostbusters 2 that responds to the emotions of the creatures around it. It's said that they're involved in the media, and at least one representative is in the Illuminati. Their whole goal with us, though, is to eat us. They see us as cattle and as a source of protein. So they're not our friends, that's for sure. So the next group that pretty much everyone on Earth knows about are the Greys. They're the little ones that are gray with the big eyes, and these guys are actually like a remote body for the reptilians in space. The reptilians are controlling them when they come and gather subjects to test on, to look at. From the stuff that I read, I'm actually starting to think that the Greys are kind of equivalent to an iPod. Everybody has one that does this kind of work because of dimensional travel, or it's kind of an extra body that you control remotely, and it has a lot of uses. But both the reptilians and the other group we'll talk about, the Palladians, they both have been observed with these creatures. So it's difficult for the reptilians or other, well, at least the reptilians in space, to breach the dimensional barrier, either from the vibrations are wrong here. There's something wrong about they can't materialize on Earth, so they have to use these kind of remote droid things that they control, which are the Greys. In 1954, President Eisenhower signed a treaty with the Greys, which are actually controlled by the reptilians. So our treaty is actually with the space reptilians, and it's called the Greada Treaty. It's re-signed every 10 years, and in the contract, in the treaty, we allow a certain number of human Americans to be taken by the Greys and for their studies, for whatever they want to do, in exchange for technological advances, and I guess also peace. Eisenhower's granddaughter went on a speaking tour in Australia in 2016 to talk about this treaty. So she seemed to know what she was talking about. So what's been happening is that they have been taking more people, more Americans than we agreed to in the treaty. So it appears that the extraterrestrials treat treaties the same way the Americans do. So these Palladians, the Palladians is the next group that I want to talk about. Now the Palladians, I guess, in their way, are the good guys. The Palladians look like that elf guy with the arrows from the Boy movie. And they've been described as being very tall, 6 foot tall, and they have long blonde hair, blue eyes, very, some have called them the Aryans, and they have been said to have had contact with Hitler. So they are actually from the Pallades star cluster, as we've named it, but witnesses that have spoken to these creatures have said that they call themselves Venusians. So the Palladians were mistaken for angels in earlier times because they came down and they mated with the women back in the day. And their ships were mentioned, the way that they was mentioned, how they were big was mentioned. They've made it into several religious writings, such as the Book of Enoch. They're mentioned. And it's said from the Book of Enoch that because they mated with the women and then we got extremes in the human physique, that's when we started to see little people and giants. So encounters with these type of aliens is usually sexual. It usually, for a lot of these people, it seems like a dream. This one man, men and women both experience it, these encounters. It's usually sexual. They look the blonde, very light blonde hair, blue eyes, sexually attractive to humans. There was one man who had the dream where he was having sex with a Palladian, and when he woke up, he found there was a hair very painfully wrapped around his penis. It was a white blonde hair. He had dark hair or something, I don't know. It wasn't his hair, so he took it to get checked out, and they said that it was like an extremely rare form of albino Asian hair. It's very, very uncommon on Earth. There was also a shaman in Africa who claimed to have eaten alien flesh, and he tripped his balls off doing that. And he said that he was taken up into one of the Palladian ships, but for him, he didn't see a beautiful person. He saw something like a Cronenberg creation, and he thought it was because his mind was so expanded that's why he couldn't see their illusions, their glamour that they had. If it was he said there was a lot of smoke and stuff, it looked like maybe there were weird chemicals that they kind of spray out that make people see them as beautiful. He said it was like a caricature of a female. It wasn't, the parts were in the right place. It was very terrifying, and that they did milk him for his genetic contribution. But he said it was very unpleasant, whereas most people experience these aliens find it pleasant. It's said that the Palladians are actually at odds with the reptilians, and they're fighting over us, our planet, the territory, all of it. That the reptilians are the ones that want to come and eat us, and the Palladians are like, no, we don't want to do that. That's not what we're here for. That the Palladians' agenda is to have the planet full of people, with many carrying their DNA and just being our metaphysical energy, allowing that to bloom and be a force of its own. Those are the ones that are waiting for us to evolve into our enlightenment, to grow into our consciousness. They're waiting for us to get to a certain point. I believe that's when we become telepathic. They're waiting for us to do that, because honestly, we're just too hard to communicate with otherwise. It's thought that the Palladians are actually the ones who seeded our planet to begin with. And they are apparently checking our fertility for some reason. They seem their agenda seems to be reproductive with the humans of Earth. The Neanderthals were placed here by the Palladians to put their genes into our pool. Dan Aykroyd publicly speculated that aliens have been living among us for many, many years. Living among us, marrying us, having children with us, sleeping next to us every night. He doesn't realize how right he is, because the Palladians have been seeding us and putting their genes in us forever. So the next group I want to talk about is the insectoids. They are from the Sombrero Galaxy, which is 28 million light years away. They have been referred to as road trippers, that they really enjoy the travel to get here, but they actually don't travel like anyone else does. They use orbs or flashes of light, very similar to the Terminator in Terminator. They are 9-foot tall insect looking, praying mantis looking humanoids. They are bipedal. They're terrifying. People are always afraid of them. They're telepathic. They are able to calm people just with their thoughts. There's different kinds. There's nice ones. There's mean ones. There's black ones, with huge black ones with glowing red eyes that are like the guards on their spaceships. Abductions with the insectoids typically are reported that they make you sit and watch a video about how we're destroying the planet. It's like they make you sit there and watch an inconvenient truth or something. And sometimes they'll make men have sex with their women, which I would find extremely nerve-wracking, considering that the female praying mantis on our planet bites the head of the dude that she's having sex with off during coitus. So, pretty risky. So these were the races who were fighting it out while we were sitting here growing the whole time. And why would they be fighting over us, though? It's because Earth is a huge commodity for several reasons. For one reason, we're the last outpost so far out, yet a springboard to other places in the galaxies. Another reason, Earth is not only a travel hub, but also part of an interstellar energy system of planets. We add a circuit to the consciousness energy of the giant void that we all live in. Another reason is humans. Humans can be food, pets, or slaves. So we in ourselves are a resource. And also, Earth has valuable resources that are desired throughout all the galaxies, not just ours. So there are interdimensional wars being fought over our heads at any given moment, and we're none the wiser. Fighting over our destinies, fighting over our lives. We're special. Many human hybrid civilizations existed and were destroyed. They thrived and were destroyed. There was the city of Atlantis that Plato wrote about, that he watched it crumble into the sea after an earthquake and an ensuing tsunami. So Atlantis was like a delta hub. They were a huge Stargate center that facilitated travel all throughout the galaxies by all the races of aliens were coming through there. Were never turned off, and they still emit their energy to this day. They think that this is happening in the North Atlantic Ocean, where the Bermuda Triangle is. Meteorologists in 2016, using satellite, found over the Bermuda Triangle area, there were these hexagonal shaped clouds that would come and push a plane down close to the water. And close to the water, there's methane that liquefies and bursts and causes anything on or near the surface to be pulled under. It's home to some of the deepest, most unnavigatable trenches on Earth. In 1970, a pilot flying over the Bermuda Triangle, he reported magnetic anomalies causing his equipment on his airplane to go haywire. He said he started flying into a tunnel-shaped cloud, and when he did that, the Miami Air Traffic Control lost sight of him on their radar, but he was returned almost immediately. But on his clock and on his watch, they both said that he had been gone for half an hour. So the pilot speculated that there was time travel capability as well, which could very well have been something the Stargates were capable of. The alien races have been wanting their Delta hub back for thousands of years. It's been very inconvenient for them. So Trump was ready to reveal the existence of extraterrestrials, but the extraterrestrials asked him to not tell because they don't feel that the human race is ready yet for their arrival. They say we still need to gain certain consciousness levels and perhaps being telepathic, because I believe that they do find it hard to communicate with us. There were military documents that were declassified by the Pentagon in 2018 and released to the public, letting the public know that the U.S. government had been in contact with extraterrestrials, unidentified flying objects, and had been for many years. Many of the Navy documents had been being declassified, where they reported seeing orbs both above and below the water, and they also reported seeing a giant building that appears and disappears out in the open ocean from time to time. 4 Russian frogmen were on a scuba mission, and they ran across a group of reptilians under the water with like a bubble around their head. And Russians being Russians, they decided to throw a net over these beings, to the response of the reptilians waving their hand, and all 4 of the frogmen were jettisoned to the surface very quickly. 3 of them died from the bends, and 1 survived to tell the tale. So when we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, it gathered the attention of the Galactic Federation.
There's a million aliens. I've never seen anything so Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ribbon-cutting ceremony of the Duke's magnificent new headquarters. A fitting home for an organization that has fostered peace throughout the universe, even between the insectoids and the space lizards.
And they decided that they were going to start working with us to try to restore peace and balance to our existence, because this planet is a valuable commodity to them and they don't want to lose it. They don't want it destroyed. They don't want it all nuked up. So what they decided to do was any creature that volunteered would be reincarnated into a human body. And their plan was 3 waves of these volunteers. The first wave is the baby boomers. And the baby boomers actually did a lot for the process of stabilizing our society with civil rights. The next group was the Gen X millennials, who are here to create progeny that can work with the baby boomers, which is what we did. So we had children, and those children are able to work with the baby boomers, use their know-how, their money, their people that they know to start a foundation of projects that are here to clean up the earth and also society. And that has been taking place. So rest assured, everyone, the planet is going to be fine. We've got the kids working on it. And every generation says they pass it to the next one. But in this case, apparently, that was the plan the whole time. It's been a daunting task for all. And the volunteers don't remember. They don't remember their past. They don't remember their past lives as aliens, unless they are hypnotized by a very talented hypnotist that is able to do past life regressions. So that's what I know. That's what I know about the existence of humans on the earth and why we are here and what we're doing. If you have anything you'd like to say, please comment. If you'd like to educate me on anything I've missed, I'd be happy to hear it. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight, and I hope you have a great week. I love you guys. Take care, okay? Bye.